New tonight, it is a dream that many people have, but only a select few are ever actually given the opportunity to achieve it.
It's a great story here tonight, Elizabeth. We're going to talk about it right now because a native of eastern Iowa gets to forever say he has climbed 3 of the 7 summits worldwide. Mark Woodley has the story.
Well, a lot of people dream about the view from the top of the tallest mountain in the world, but only a very select few will ever see it. And this past spring, an eastern Iowa native added his name to that very select list. From a very young age, Cedar Rapids native Nathan Frederick has been fascinated with climbing. That fascination started with family vacations to Colorado at the age of 6. And over the next 4 decades, it took him to the top of 3 of what are known as the 7 summits, the highest points on each continent.
Gosh, I love the views. I love the peace of it.
He and wife Tammy spent their 16th anniversary on the top of the first of those 3, Tanzania's Mount Kilimanjaro. He then summited Elbrus in Russia, followed by the towering 20,000 feet of Denali in Alaska. For the 4th, he was ready to tackle the big one.
That's Everest right there, front and center. I don't think Everest was something that my mom in particular wanted me to do, and my wife certainly had reservations.
But still, it was the next on the list. And after 2 years of training, 4 to 6 hours a day, it was time. In May, he traveled to Nepal for an attempt to climb to the top of the world. And a torn MCL he suffered prior to leaving wasn't going to stop him.
To summit the largest mountain in the world is, the other ones are great, but I mean, this experience definitely trumped a lot of the other experiences.
It also came with a lot of hardships. More than a month of teeth-chattering nights in a tent at base camp.
Roughly around 3 p.m. each day, it gets outrageously cold and everyone kind of hibernates like bears until dinner time.
But of course, the biggest challenge was the mountain itself, and Everest wasn't going to be conquered easily.
We are ultimately going up to there. That is Everest.
Which became readily apparent when Frederick fell into a deep crevasse in the treacherous section known as the Khumbu Icefall. He was saved only by a safety line that kept him from becoming yet another victim of the mountain.
I'm a little wedged, but you can probably get a little higher. You hear me on the bottom of the crevasse like, "Hey, were you filming that? Did you catch that?" Then he calls back like, "Are you still alive?" I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "I got it then."
That's why you're on a safety, I guess.
Others weren't so lucky. 9 climbers who went up Everest this spring didn't come back. And in a couple of moments in that harsh reality, Frederick encountered 2 of their bodies on the mountain, deceased while still clipped into their safety lines.
When you're encountered with it directly face to face, that is tough. It is a mental hurdle to get over. You start having some doubts and things of that nature. You're essentially, unfortunately, climbing over people who passed away within the last 24 hours.
But through the doubts and the multiple other issues, one of which being an unexpected hiccup with the availability of oxygen tanks on the mountain, Nathan Frederick still made it to the top of the world at 3:40 a.m. on May 21st.
Actually, I pulled out my cell phone and it was a block of ice, so I wasn't able to take a photo.
But a Sherpa still managed to get the shot, but not exactly a good one. In fact, Frederick calls it horrific. The memory, however, is anything but.
You had all the peaks, coming through the clouds surrounding us. You had the full moon reflecting off that cloud cover and up, so it was pretty surreal kind of experience. It was awesome, right?
And Nathan Frederick isn't done. He has more of the 7 summits in his sights. But you know what? He wasn't the only Iowan who had a glimpse of the world's tallest mountain this spring. But unlike Nathan, I didn't go for the summit or face death or anything like that, but did have an unforgettable experience, which I'm going to share on Wednesday on the KWWL News at 10. Back to you.